So we'll start sitting comfortably. You're able to sit cross-legged or whatever's comfortable for you so that your spine can be long and you can relax your body. Maybe soft eyes or closed eyes. And we'll just start to go inside and elongate our breath. So just slowing it down as we inhale, taking the air all the way down into the pelvis, letting the belly relax, and then exhaling all the way out. Maybe a little pause between the inhale and the exhale. And maybe a little sound, if you like, on the exhale as well to release, to just help the body release. Whatever feels good to allow us to come into our body and let go. Relaxing the shoulders, letting the jaw relax, the brow, tongue. Coming gently into our breath, letting the mind go. As we continue to breathe like this, we can bring our fingers up to our heart and gently tap around the heart and thymus. Still, if you want to let out sound or something that feels good to you to really release. And then we'll bring our hands up to our head, massage our scalp, and just kind of wake up that region. All those channels that run through our scalp. Bringing our hands to our ears, massaging the ears a little bit. Waking up our body that way. All the points that correspond, acupressure points. And then bringing our fingers, 2 fingers, one in each ear, and gently pull down and hold for a breath. Noticing how the body lets go. Then we can bring our arms out to our side and just let the spine move by reaching forward and bringing our arms behind us, lifting our heart, just kind of snaking our spine back and forward. It's like a little snake-like movement as we curl back and forward. Yeah, and just rippling through the spine however you want, whatever feels good to you to move your spine and your arms. Breathing. Right. And then we'll come up and let our arms relax by our side. We're going to start in deer pose. So bring the right leg forward, and if you're able to tuck this left leg back, your knee will allow that. If not, you can maybe sit with your leg extended if your knee doesn't allow that, or find a variation. And just letting the hip relax down for a moment. So this right leg is bent in front, and we're just internally rotating on that left hip and externally rotating the right hip, right? So just letting that hip sink in. Maybe you're able to move your foot, your left foot, a little farther away from your hip and still have your sits bones down. That's okay. And then we'll take our right hand behind us and we're going to take our left hand over and spiral back. So we'll make sure the spine is lengthened and then just spiral back. Twist. Breathing here. You might like to have a pillow or a bolster handy as well, or block, so that you can use it to help you relax when you come farther down onto the ground. There's 3 levels, right? So you can stay at any of the levels that feels good to you for any length of time. So we can go farther down onto the elbows with the level. And then all the way onto the hands. And again, you can put a bolster under your chest and let your shoulders relax down if you want to lie down on your hands, on the forehead on the hands. Feel free to move in and out of any of those that you prefer, any of the levels that you prefer. Sometimes if we're lying all the way down on the hands, that can put a little bit of a strain on the shoulder that's in the back. So a pillow or a bolster under the chest would help that particular issue, to just really let your shoulder relax. Of course, we always like to play with our edges in yin. So if you find that your body can go a little farther into the twist, a little bit more into the twist, if that after a while, if that feels right for you, you can always sort of bring yourself back, your torso back a little bit more. You are lying down on your hands. You might notice that your chest, your torso starts to sink a little deeper into the ground. This particular pose targets a couple of different areas. Right? So we're getting into the hips a bit, not too strenuously, but a little bit of compression and rotation of our hips, as well as the upper body, our shoulders and arms. Also, we're twisting. So we're compressing our organs. Nice massage as we breathe. Be up on the hands with your arms straight. You'll notice you'll also get an extra stretch through the front of the left hip and flexor area, groin area. So I'm making my way back up slowly. And like I said, you can choose to stay in any of the variations. Be coming out of it in a few seconds. Then we'll go ahead and make our way. You're down on your hands or elbows, make your way up to your straight arms, then come around to face forward and allow the hip again to just relax for a moment in that position as we come out of the pose on that side. And then we'll draw our back leg forward and come to the other side. You have a bolster that you want to bring with you or pillow. And so our left leg is in front, loose bend, and the right leg tucked by your side if you're able to. Starting with the foot close and just letting that hip relax. And if you are a little tight in the hip area and your body leans over to the left, mine's doing that because of my right leg, you can just breathe into it. I would recommend if there's no pain. If there's pain, then definitely move your leg to a different position. But if you can just breathe into it and allow your hip to let go. And then we'll start to spiral to the left. So bringing our left hand back, make sure we lengthen our spine. And then take a twist left. Starting up on the hands, but feel free to go into any of those levels that you want to at any time. Hang out anywhere that feels good to you. You want to listen to our body. One side might be different than the other. Of course, yin is all about going inside and listening and noticing what's happening inside of us. It's really a time that we can let go and give ourselves the space to be with ourselves, right? It's a good time during, I think a good thing to do during these more tend to be a little bit stressful holiday times, right? For a lot of people, not necessarily everyone. And the research is finding that stress is like causes about 90% of the illnesses. I'm not sure if that's true, but that's what they're saying. I guess stress can be it can be a cause or it can be an effect because your body stresses because of a cause, right? So, but anytime our body is or we are under unnatural stress or under stress for too long, we're in a state of fear. The body's in a state of fear and tension. Right? So all the blood vessels in our gut will constrict, so we won't get the nourishment we need. And the blood vessels in our brain, or the blood in our brain, will go from the front to the back. So we won't have won't be very on top of it mentally. The cognitive skills will kind of suffer. And then the immune system will also shut down. So you can't really be healthy when you're under stress. Yeah, and we get to de-stress for a little while and discover how good it is to not be under stress. Better choice. And that's easier said than done. Time that we're in a twist, which we are in this particular pose. We are naturally de-stressing because it is a naturally relaxing position for the body, the movement of the body. So you might notice that. So you might want to start to make your way back up if you are laying all the way on your hands, and just slowly migrate back with your time. Start to come out. Eventually come around to face forward. We always come out of the poses slowly because of the connective tissue. It takes a while to come back. And just allowing the hip to relax here. Breath. And letting our torso unwind from that twist. Breathing. And then we'll go ahead and bring that right leg up forward. And just let your legs kind of go side to side, maybe lean back on your hands and do a little windshield wiper. Our hips have been internally and externally rotated. And then we'll extend the legs out in front, lifting the sits bones if you need to, if you want to sit on something, if you have a little bit of challenge bringing your pelvis upright, you can always bolster under the hips. You can also bolster under the knees and the calves, right? And we'll just come forwards and relax over the legs. You just let your legs kind of do what they naturally do. They might do a little bit of an external rotation, or some people's legs do a little internal rotation, or they might be parallel. Really doesn't matter. It's just whatever feels good to your body. It's right for you. Just letting gravity have our torso here to start with. You might have your spine rounded and your head forward. If that's comfortable, getting a nice stretch through the spine and the back of the neck. Or if you like to bring the stretch more into the hamstrings, then we can do that by kind of lifting, flattening our back more, bringing our belly closer to our thighs by flattening the back, and we'll feel that more in the back of the legs. So you can just do it however you like. You can go back and forth between that. Emphasis on the back or the emphasis on the legs. You are able to reach your feet eventually. You can always grab hold of your feet with your hands, and that feels good to you. You can gently pull the feet back towards you. Even bending the toes back might feel good, or bending the whole foot back. Flexion. Increasing the stretch in the back of the, especially the back of the lower legs. You're somebody that has short hamstrings or tight hamstrings, you can also just bolster under your knees a little bit and kind of take some of the pressure and the stress off of the back of your legs. Forward fold is also a way to relax our body. So naturally de-stresses and relaxes the body just to be in any kind of a forward fold position, folding over our legs. Okay, so we can start to slowly walk ourselves up to sitting. Your time. And lean back on the hands behind the hips. Move the legs, shake them out, whatever feels good to you. If you want to bring your feet in closer to the hips and just lift and lower the hips a few times. And we're going to come around to the Sphinx pose. So if you want to have a folded up blanket or a pillow handy, props that you want to have with you. And let's go ahead and do infant. So bring your arms alongside your body to start with. And we'll just lift our chest and our torso up and reach for our feet. Kind of get our backside activated here and switched on. We can into Sphinx a little more easily. And then bring the arms underneath the shoulders, elbows under the shoulders, relax the pelvis. You might like to do a little rocking side to side, whatever feels good to your body. Sort of gently coming into this back bend. Okay, if the rear end muscles engage, because that's a natural reflex after coming out of a forward fold. And if you want to lift your feet and increase the compression in the lumbar spine, stretch in the front of the legs, hips, lift the feet. You can also feel free to grab hold of one leg and give it an extra stretch if you like. Just lift the legs up and hold them there. Get a little stretch in the front of our neck, a little compression in the back of the neck. We can lift our head and look up for a bit. Well, create a little bit more of arching on the back of our body. If you find your head and your neck get a little bit tired and stressed, you can also rest your chin on your hands in Sphinx, or you can rest your head on a block as well. Block under the forehead. And if you are able to, you can slide one knee up while you're in Sphinx and come into half frog to open that hip a little bit, whatever leg you want to do. That feels doable and not too uncomfortable for your hip. Passive hip opening. not so passive if you're on your elbows. It's more of an active hip opening. Then we can also just take a little break by letting our arms come out to the side, resting our forehead or our head on our hands, and looking to the side that knee is up, right? Whatever side that is. Take a moment here. Okay, and we can slide that leg back down and come back into Sphinx. Or if you'd like to do seal, you can straighten the arms, widen them a little bit more. You can either do seal with your pelvis on the ground, or if you'd like to come up a little higher, you can lift the pelvis off the ground or put a pillow underneath the pelvis for support. And feel free to come in and out of any of the variations of Sphinx and seal anytime for the next couple of minutes, so we can just let our body determine where we want to go by partially listening to our breath. If our breath gets labored, we're getting a sign that we're needing to come out of the pose, the intense part of the pose, into a less intense version. As with most yin poses, they often include some yang. Right? These poses have some yang. In this case, our arms are pretty active and our shoulders, whereas our hips and our low back, our legs are very relaxed. Also, if you like to, in Sphinx, bring your other leg up and do half frog while you're in Sphinx, another option too. Just allowing that hip to get a little more forced opening, as long as it's not uncomfortable or too uncomfortable for your hip. If you are in half frog and Sphinx, you'll notice that the emphasis kind of gets moved from the lumbar spine a little bit, right, and shifted into the hip and pelvis. So the front of the pelvis and the hip. So whichever leg is obviously up to the side is getting more opening. It just depends on what your body wants to focus on. Feel like it's the right thing for your body. And then we can take your R up and seal, make your way back down gradually to Sphinx. Then we can just take a little break and half frog on the other side. So relax your head on your hands. And then we'll slide that leg down, make our way up to our hands and knees if you're able to be on your knees, or find a position where you can move your spine. And we'll just do a slow, gentle cat-cow. So curling our tailbone under, letting our back round. We might press our hips back toward our heels. And then lift back up and come into an arch. Just moving slowly and gently, letting the spine come back to its normal state. Balancing out between the forward fold and the back bend. We can do a few little hip circles here and just kind of let the body move however it like to. Rib cage move. And the other direction. Sit back to our heels in child's pose for a little bit. Or if you're not able to do that, you can come onto your back in a happy baby pose. That's better for your knees or whatever. And you might like your knees apart, or if you prefer to have your legs together, that's fine. Feet might be together or apart, just finding what feels good to you. Child's pose or happy baby, we get such nourishing compression in our hips and to some extent our knees in happy baby, but definitely in child's pose. Get that wonderful stretch in our sacrum, low back. Of course, if your arms are extended out in front, you get that nice stretch under our shoulder, through our shoulder and upper arm. Okay, so you can start to come out from that pose, whichever one you're in, and bring yourself up to sitting. And we'll take our blocks. Everybody has 2 blocks. You're going to put one long ways on your mat to go under the upper back shoulders. And the other block can be widthways, and you can either have it on the lower or a higher level, depending on what your head and neck prefer. And we're going to make our way down so that the block underneath the ribs and the shoulder blades, and the head is on the upper block. Here, and again, find if you like the block on the lower elevation or on the little bit higher elevation to elevate your head more. Just find what works for you here. And then let your arms extend out. So we'll just let our chest, our front of our shoulders get a nice opening, and then we'll let our knees open apart. So we're in a supine butterfly. Feet together. And this is a totally yin pose. And right now, I wish I had a blanket. Jillian. Wow. So very much a restorative pose. Be nice to allow our spine to bend in this direction after most of the time bending the other direction. Good for our posture. Allowing the hips and legs to relax. Although we could stay here, I'm sure, a long time, be very happy, but we're going to go ahead and slowly lift our legs up, or just bring one leg up and that arm over so that you can bring yourself onto your side, whatever way works for you to come up onto your side. Come up. And we'll take one of the blocks and put it underneath our pelvis, under our sacrum. So you might like the lower orientation, you might like a higher orientation, or if the block is too uncomfortable for your sacrum, you might prefer bolster, right? But depending on how that feels to you. And we're going to extend our left leg and just lift our right knee and hold on to it or not hold on to it, whatever you want to do there. And just taking our left arm over our head and letting it relax. We can Enjoy a passive hip flexor psoas stretch here. Also a really nice counter pose for the hip flexors, which, like our spine, we tend to do a forward flexion more often. And to just do a relaxing passive counter pose to help bring everything back into balance. Don't stretch our hip flexors and the front of the hips and the psoas area. All that doesn't get a chance to stretch out. We don't find our gait becoming um, a little bit difficult. And I mean, people that don't, do this on a regular basis, they find their body starts to lean forward and their gait becomes a little shorter, a little, find yourself walking not so relaxed, right? Not as big of a stride. So, okay, so we'll go ahead and bring our left arm back down and just slide your left foot along the ground so that we can switch by bringing our left knee up. And then take your right leg down and stretch it out. Again, you can bring your right arm over your head and just relax it somewhere alongside your body there. Hold on to your knee, or if you prefer not to hold on to your knee, your left hand. Also might find that whatever leg is straight, that foot might not go all the way down to the ground at first. So your knee might need to bend a little bit. And then maybe with time and the help of gravity, right, it can eventually come all the way down and your leg can come straighter. It's depending on your hips, your body. Every body is different. Shouldn't really matter how it looks, just how it feels to you. In yin, we like to take a functional approach, not an aesthetic approach to poses, right? So it's all about what's going on inside, not how it looks on the outside. So we can bring our right arm down. If you want to slide your right foot in to bring both knees up, and we'll go ahead and take our legs up toward the ceiling. So feet toward the ceiling, and so that our legs are in the air, knees relaxed. You can move your feet if you like. And you might like to straddle the legs and just open them apart for a moment. Of course, gravity will really pull the legs into a stretch here. And then we'll bring the legs back up. If you are straddling, bring the legs up. And we can bend the knees and bring our feet back onto the ground. And we're going to press the hips up and slide our block out, or if you're using a bolster, slide it out and slowly lower the hips down. And then you might like to have your block or a bolster next to you on the left side. We're going to draw our knees in, give them a nice stretch in toward our chest. Yeah, rock around a little bit and your body relax. And curl into a ball if you want to bring your head towards your knees. And then we'll lie the head down and cross your right leg over the left so the knees are stacked as best as you can. Grab hold of your legs, whether your calves or your ankles or your feet, right? And just pull your knees in toward your chest. You might like to bring your head up towards your knees and kind of curl into a ball here. And then we'll relax our head down and just guide your knees over toward the left. Make sure your legs are supported in some fashion, whether it's a block or a bolster or your hands, and then let your right arm extend out from your shoulder. So this is twisted roots, and your knees might be higher, which will put the twist more in toward the upper part of our spine, or you might like to have your knees lower down, putting the twist more in the lower part of the spine. And obviously it will vary the stretch in the hip. Just find what works for you. Trying to get our right shoulder all the way on the ground. And of course, if the twist that we do isn't the best for your body, you can always choose to do a different variation or a different type of twist. So there's various ways you can do a twist on your back. Okay, so we can use our right hand to grab hold of our right leg and draw ourselves back onto our back slowly. Bring both knees in. If you want to switch your bolstering, whatever you're using, to the other side. Kind of hug your knees, rock your body, whatever feels good to your body. And then we'll stack our left leg on top of our right leg. And again, grabbing on wherever you like or wherever it works for you to pull your legs in toward the chest. If you want, curl into a ball and just round the back as you stretch the legs toward you. Our head is relaxed on the ground. We can guide our legs over to the right, extending our left arm out from our shoulder and making sure we have support for the legs some way so they can relax. And we'll twist. Might like the knees to be higher up or wherever you want your knees to be here. Left shoulder all the way down. Of course, your head and neck can do whatever is most comfortable for your head and neck. Twists are so beneficial for our, not only our organs, but our spine, especially for our spine. And the spine is really much more than we might think it is for. It's like an antenna. It's always picking up energies. You could think of your head as the top of your antenna, the tail as the bottom of your antenna, circulating the electrical and etheric energies through our body as we pick them up and ground them into the earth, recirculate them through, right? So the spine, keeping the spine healthy is extremely important for the well-being of all levels of our body, mind, and soul. Of course, it's very relaxing to be in a twist. So if you'd like to start to slowly come out, stay there a little longer if you want, or just draw that left knee in, right knee in, and relax your body in the center. Come into doing any movement that feels good to you, and then coming into a pose that feels good to you, whether it's bent knees or Shavasana with your legs all the way extended, whatever feels good to your body. And we'll just take a moment to integrate. So breathing nice and fully. I'm finding that my hands want to be on my belly. So just letting your body do what it feels right now. Like your hands on your heart. But breathing and circulating the chi energy through our body, noticing how we feel. Noticing how your breath is. Noticing how the mind is maybe a little more relaxed. And just give thanks to our body. A moment to give our body thanks. Give our breath thanks. And give gratitude to Gaia for supporting us. Give gratitude for anything that you want to give gratitude for, of course. And I give gratitude for you for being here with me and doing this practice today. So continue to lie down and relax, or if you feel like you want to get up slowly, take your time. And I thank you for